this is MVP time of year. Devon Achane got the team MVP. Who is the special teams MVP this season?
I think a lot of guys deserve some recognition for that. Obviously Jake's had a really good year. Riley Patterson only missing 2 field goals, has done a really good job. Cam Good is leading our team in tackles with 15. So there's a lot of deserving players. For me to just pick one out, I don't feel like I can do that because I feel like a lot of guys are doing a really good job for us.
And a quick follow-up, I noticed Jason Sanders out on the practice field yesterday. Anything you can tell us about his status?
No, it's still the same. He'll be out there doing his thing, and we'll make a decision on what we want to do here on Friday. But again, he's progressing well, and it was great to have him out on the field and doing a bunch of different things.
Barry?
Hi, Craig. So with the kicker, what's led to the decision up to this point to stick with Riley, and has Jason been healthy enough to kick the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, he's been out there doing some kicks and longer field goals. We've been testing him out. We actually even go into the stadium on Fridays. So, Jason again is progressing really well. We feel Riley's been doing a really good job. Anytime you're over 90%, as far as field goals, and he's doing a really good job on kickoffs. We just feel like we want to make sure that Jason is ready to go, and we've got a really good guy right now with Riley doing a great job for us.
Thank you.
Travis?
Coach, what's up, man? I was hoping you could take me kind of paint the picture of the behind the scenes of a Jake Bailey hit stick. Do you encourage him to make hits like that when he's the last line of defense? And then what's it like afterwards when he's strutting his stuff on the sideline? People are hyping him up. Like that had to be pretty exciting for you guys.
Well, I don't know if I would consider it, Travis, a hit stick because the guy didn't really fall down, but we don't want Jake to make a bunch of tackles, that's for sure. But Jake is obviously a very proud player that is going to do whatever he can to help the team win. And if he does have to go make a tackle on punt team, that's what he's going to do. We got to do a better job of containing the returner on that return. I think they got 15, 17 yards on us. That's not what we're looking for. But Jake ran down there and made a really good play on the sideline that helped us out. So I know he was strutting his stuff afterwards, and I had to talk to him and say, hey, your next kick is the most important. But we don't want Jake making those plays.
Thanks, Coach.
Steven?
Hey, Craig. So what went into the Zeke Biggers block? What goes into that?
Yeah, a lot of different things. One, it's studying the film, knowing, maybe we might see something in particular with a guard or a tackle. And then we're always telling those guys that we're trying to get as much knockback as we possibly can, whether it be on a guard or tackle. Zeke has done it pretty much throughout his career in college. Again, I talked to him today. I said, hey, is it 3 or 4 blocks that you've had in college? Like, what's the difference? He's like, Coach, it's been 5 or 6. And I said, well, that's not what your college says. So I think he might be counting a couple other ones. But the biggest thing is that's all effort. When we turn on the film at any point in time on our field goal block, it's going to be all about effort. And then we go with our technique. And Zeke did a really good job of, trying to get pad under pad and then getting his hands up after 3 steps, which is what he did, and end up having a really good block for us that helped us win the game.
And one question on the Patriots. Obviously, last time out, they had the kick return on the ensuing kickoff after your punt return touchdown. They always put an emphasis on special teams. Got a guy like Brendan Schooler. What does it take against a franchise like that really puts an emphasis on special teams play?
Yeah, they've done it for years.
Yeah.
That's always been a big emphasis with the Patriots about special teams and having a role. We just got done showing a bunch of film on the guys, and we started on Wednesday with it. We go by every single player that we feel like is a core player, and we give them cut-ups of each guy's, whether it's on their punt team, the punt return unit, Schooler, Ellis. Those guys are really good football players that do a really good job. I believe Ellis has got 18 tackles on kickoff this year. So they have a lot of guys that play really well, and it's not just 4 core. They got starters that end up playing on special teams too. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. They got a dynamic returner, so we got to go down there and cover punts and cover kicks as best to our ability.
Thank you.
Alan?
Good morning, Craig.
Morning, Alan.
As an offshoot to Chris's question, I'm wondering whether you can come up off the top of your head with 2 or 3 of the best special teams moments of the season.
Ooh. Well, obviously the punt return, really stands out with Malik doing some really good things. That's always a big one. Any of the punts that land inside the 10-yard line that our gunners make a great play. Even in this past week, we've actually had 2 in the past 2 weeks where we've pinned our opponents down. I think those are always key. And then obviously the block coming at the end of the half. Stopping Tampa Bay's momentum, giving us momentum going into halftime. I think those are some of the big plays that we've had this year.
And as a quick follow-up, I know you weren't big on the idea of like singling out players as your special teams MVP. I'm wondering whether you'd be more comfortable telling us, for example, who do you believe has made the greatest improvement from the start of the season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd like to think all of them improved, Alan. But I think Cam Good has done a really good job. This is a guy that was hurt last year, that I felt like, during the offseason training camp, did a really good job of just understanding what we were trying to accomplish. Knowing his role, it wasn't going to be much on defense at the beginning of the season. So, hey, let's really focus in on special teams and let's be the best player that you can possibly be there. And I think he's really taken advantage of that opportunity to lead us in tackles.
Thanks, Craig.
Yep.
We'll go back to Chris Perkins.
Hey, Craig, real quick, how have special teams done this season? We know it's been up and down. We know you had to deal with injuries starting with Jason Sanders. What's your assessment with 1 game remaining?
Yeah, I think we've had hit and misses, throughout the season like everyone does. But, I know, punt wise, Jake has been doing a really good job and we're, probably in the top 10 on net punt. At first, like Joe was saying, we were number 1 at one point in time. But, I think that's been a really good unit for us, led by Jake, our punt return unit. I know we're up there too with Malik as far as punt returns and the touchdowns. Kickoff return, average starting field position has been really good for us, which is what really matters when we look at kickoff return is that average starting field position. We got to get better on our kickoff team. Obviously, that's a big part of it. And then obviously our field goal team, Riley, has really stepped up and for be over 90% has been great.
And then real quick, the weather this weekend, will it have any, I don't think wind or snow is going to be a factor, but frozen ground and cleats, any effect on your guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the same, like we had up there in Pittsburgh, just a different surface, obviously. So, I think the last time we had talked about this, I even mentioned that Riley, is used to kicking on snow anyways for where he came from. So, we'll get up there early, make sure that we understand what's going on as far as getting out on the field early. But no, I don't think there won't be too much effect as far as our guys because they're used to it. So my biggest thing is, hey, let's get out there early. We don't need to look at the weather right now as far as could always change at any point in time. Maybe the wind aspect might be the biggest part about that. If that does change. So just getting those guys out early or just understanding, hey, the wind's blowing this way, they might punt this way or they might kick off this way too. That'll be the biggest thing for us.
Okay, thanks. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
We'll close it out here with Barry.
Craig, one more kicker question. I know I
Yeah.
asked you some variation of this about 3 weeks ago, but I guess I'll phrase it a different way. Do you think Riley has done enough where the organization will need to make a decision this offseason about which guy? You have 2 very good guys to go with the kicker.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't want to speculate with that until after the season, Barry. That's a great question. But, I think what we'll do is at the end of the season, once we get done, we can take a look at the film, go through a bunch of stuff, just realizing that we do have 2 really good kickers on our roster. That's really helpful. I know there's probably teams out there that might be looking for some after the season, but we'll make those decisions as an organization afterwards. But I know there'll be a thorough, talk about everything that we do.